Welcome to our school board meeting for October 24th, 2023. How's everyone doing today? Good. So today's invocation will be led by Marilyn Lares from Miracle Springs Church. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Dr. Mike Allen, our Chief of Staff. The National Anthem will be led by Avery Campbell from St. Cloud Middle School. And our mission statement will be read by Dr. Lastenia Peñalosa, who is the Assistant Superintendent for Educational Services. Interpretation services will be done by Lucille Hagman from, Lucille, I'm sorry if I mispronounced her name, from the Multicultural Department. So if you will all stand if you want to and if you're able for the invocation. Marilyn?
Good evening. I made it here just in time. It took me over an hour and a half to get here.
Coming from down the street.
I was coming on the other side of Kissimmee, and literally, I'm like, gotta love this traffic. Anyway, let's pray. Oh, Father, we just thank and we praise you for the opportunity to come and look at our school board, look at what's going on, look at our school district, and we just say, Abba, Father, Daddy God, would you have your way in this school district? Lord, as you hover over each one here, that, Lord, as they make decisions in this school board meeting, that, Lord, they would realize that it's all about the kids. It's all about what you want done for the children. Lord, I pray that there be godly decisions made, godly discussion, and that your name would be exalted and glorified in this place this evening. That your name, my Lord, would be lifted up on high. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may be seated. All right, board, now is the time where we set the tone of this meeting, starting with our positive comments. Mission statement is actually the best way to set the tone.
Good evening. The mission that we all are using to ground our work is inspiring all learners to reach their highest potential as responsible, productive citizens.
Thank you, Dr. Lastenia.
Good evening. My name is Lucille Hegeman. I will be providing interpretation services in Spanish. Mi nombre es Lucille Hegeman. Voy a proveer servicios de interpretación en español.
Thank you. And now we can start with our positive comments. Dr. Shanoff, we'll go ahead and start with you today.
Thank you. First, I want to congratulate all of our students that participated in OBC championships over the last couple of weeks, and then on into their districts. And some of our teams are actually headed to, and athletes are headed to regionals. And so I just want to say that it's really important for us to recognize that if we really want our students to respect the things that we want them to do during the school day, we really have to respect and enjoy what they enjoy doing outside of school as well. So I want to thank all of the parents that have supported our kids, the coaches that have put in countless hours, the administrators and the teachers that continue to support our students as they participate and compete in the things that they love and they enjoy. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention, I want to give a shout out to the Student Advisory Council. I've met with this group now twice, and I just am more and more impressed every single time. And our first meeting was an hour, our second meeting was 2 hours, and we have another meeting scheduled right before Thanksgiving break. We're getting a lot of momentum going. This is completely homegrown from students in terms of how do we build culture on our campuses. And I absolutely love how our students are communicating with each other through this process, and that I can really step back and be less of this process as our students go ahead and take ownership over what their schools feel like, what they sound like, and how they look. And I'm thrilled and very proud of them.
Thank you. Board Member Melendez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had a chance to visit with the crisis intervention teams. A lot of folks that may not be familiar with that, they are a group, and I thought it was going to be, when I first heard about it, just teachers on call. When they're actually staff that are specialized in, I think they have mental health counselors, they have social workers, they have psychologists that rotate on a weekly basis. So on Monday, they have a group of team that's ready to go. On Tuesday, they have another group. On Wednesday, and they actually have like basic training and everything too. Like when they're part of the team, they have like professional development. They get learn how to work with them. And then of course, we always get the updates from their chief of staff here, Dr. Allen, getting us the call whenever something happens. So we just want parents to feel comfortable to know that when an unfortunate incident occurs, and hopefully nothing major happens, but unfortunately it does happen. Sometimes not even on campus. Somebody may pass away in a car accident. And then people don't realize that our teachers work with these students for a long time, and they need counseling as well. So these groups, these crisis intervention teams, are there to be on call and respond to whenever an incident happens. And so if the parents have any problems, if the students have issues adjusting, we're not making it up on the fly. This has been a program that's been in existence for a number of years, and it's a resource that I believe that a lot of people don't know about. And they want to feel comfortable knowing that if an unfortunate incident does occur, that the school district has a plan in place in order to address the mental health needs. Because it's not always about the physical needs of the student, but we got to make sure that they're in a good place in order to receive instruction and do the best that they can. So I just want to thank you, Dr. Allen, and the crisis intervention teams that are out there. And so I think that's something that, again, these are trained professionals in the field and to be able to help students with any issues they may have. And so I'm glad to support that program. And if there's anything you guys need, please let the board know, because I think that's something that more people should know about. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Argoyo?
Yes, I have a little theme here going for on school security, and I just wanted to, Lester Yates is a guy that normally we see here every single board meeting. Is he here? He's in fact, okay, there he is. Back in the corner. So without getting into specifics, you can't really speak highly enough about how seriously each district takes security, especially ours. It's one thing that Osceola County does pretty well. And it's thanks to that guy back there, Lester Yates, who stands here. He's always watching over it. I don't know where he's going to now, but he's probably taking an emergency call.
Yeah.
and that just speaks to how he is. He's on the ball. We had an assessment recently and did pretty well, in my estimation, on that assessment. And it speaks volumes to his professionalism and his ability to make sure that that our kids, our students, our staff, our teachers, everyone is safe in Osceola County. So thank you, Lester. And then also, I wanted to speak about an individual school. So there's a staff at one of our schools, I'm gonna call them up, but there was a situation, an emergency situation, where someone got, I guess, a whiff, for lack of better words, of something that was not so great at one of our schools. They checked the smell, and that following their nose, to stick with the same pun in that process, they ended up finding a weapon on campus. And it was through a high level of diligence that they actually found it. There was, our students were never safer once the staff, the district staff got involved in the process. And that's exactly what we want. There was no hesitation. They knew exactly what to do. And that's all part of leadership, is being able to react appropriately and with quickness, and that's exactly what they did. So let me call up here our principal from Toho, George R. Scott, and his team, Dr. Felix Harris, Timothy Shoemaker, Officer Robert Hansel, who I guess is his dad out here? Is his dad here too? Yeah, I don't know, you guys ever heard somebody named Hansel before, but our former sheriff back there, so that's his son, and Officer Brandon Ortiz. So these guys literally prevented what could have been a really terrible situation at one of our schools. Instead, it's a success story. So I just wanted to thank them all. Let me give you guys a certificate here. Get closer together.
Like we like each other?
And let me give you guys these little gift cards, just a token of our appreciation for your work.
Thanks, sir.
Unless you have this is, we think that educating our kids is the number one task that a district may have. But in reality, the number one task is to make sure that our kids get to us and get back to their families in the way that they came to us. And that's the number one thing. Learning comes second to that. And you guys really did a great job making sure that that happened for us. So I just wanted to say thank you very much. So let me actually shake you guys. Let me give you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll get one for you guys too. I got that search for my drawer.
I'm
Oh,
going
yeah.
to take a picture.
It's all small guys up here.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, sir.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you, well done, and thank you for recognizing Mr. Arguello. Board Member Cahoon.
Thank you, Chair Castillo. I'm going to stick with some safety and security to start my positive comments as well. A few weekends ago, some of our team and myself headed down to Parkland, Florida to do a visit of the Building 1200 at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, where the tragedy took place over 5 years ago. It was a very somber experience. They opened it up for the last time to elected officials, different people in the school and student safety and security space to come out. They had people from across the country, California, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, all over, visiting the school to see the exact path the shooter took. We had a tour inside the building, a building that has been frozen in time since this incident occurred. And it was such an eye-opening experience, very hard to do. I was thankful that our team was there. It was Dave Sharma, our facilities director, Lester Yates, and Rusty Gould, which I thank them immensely for being there. They helped get me through the process of witnessing that experience. But it was a lot to bring back here. We actually had a meeting this week with some of our team and Dr. Shanoff to really talk through the things that we saw and we learned. And to hear even that we are doing great things, as Mr. Arguello said, in Osceola already to protect our students, but obviously we can always continue to look at how we can better safen our schools and ensure that our students are getting home every day to their families. So I'm just thankful for our team for being willing to go there and see that. It was very, like I said, very hard to do, but I think there's a lot we learned from it and can bring into our schools and continue to do our due diligence there. On a brighter note, I want to say I hope you guys have been watching our social media. We've got a lot of Teacher of the Year and School-related Employee of the Year recognitions going on at this time. All of our schools and our departments are surprising the staff at their schools that are being recognized in these positions, and I have a few that I've worked with in the past that I just want to shout out. Melissa Hillen at Pleasant Hill is Teacher of the Year, Brianna Krause at Hickory Tree Elementary School is Teacher of the Year, and Katie McCormick at Parton Settlement Elementary School, and her daughters are actually some of the ones that came here. If you remember, and were here not too long ago when the students from St. Cloud came out and wanted to share why they thought we should allow cell phones during lunchtime. So it was great to see her own children advocating and being such awesome students, for something that they cared passionately about. Obviously, she's doing a great job with her own kids, and I know she's doing it in her classes as well. And then finally, Choice Fair is going to be coming to our school district again this year, November 16th, from 5 to 7:30 at Osceola Heritage Park. Last year, we had almost 4,000 attendees. So it's a great event. You can learn from all of our schools, the different programs that are happening, so you can find the right choice and right fit for your child. You can look now at myosceolachoice.school to start learning what match would be great for you. So I encourage you to look at the website, take the quiz with your child, and then come out on November 16th to find the right choice for you next year.
Thank you so much. So many great things happening. I do have some positive comments as well, but it does seem like we all have the same thing in mind, which is student safety and security. And with that, I do want to just give a shout out to some folks that have helped me put together a community conversation that is happening in about a week in Celebration. So I just want to shout out Lauren Gunyon and Debbie McDonald who helped me put this together. I'll be in a panel speaking about student safety, not just in schools, but also what we can do outside of schools. So that's a pretty interesting conversation that we will be having. I also want to note that I was at Horizon Middle School a couple days ago, and I experienced their Hispanic Heritage Month extravaganza. It was like more than a celebration. There was food, there was entertainment, there was poems. It was amazing. If you did not go this year, I encourage you to attend next year because it is incredible. Dr. Allen was there, and I was just grateful to experience that and support the children. I also want to note that Celebration K-8 is having their Fall Spirit Night on Thursday, and that will be at the Chick-fil-A in Celebration. Westside K-8 is also having an event, their Trunk or Treat, which is happening on Friday as well. So if you are in town, go ahead and support the students and the PTA. And I also want to say congratulations to the Celebration High School bowling team. They finished their season today, and they had an amazing season, so I just want to give them a shout out, especially my nephew, Colin Christian. Great job. And finally, just want to shout out Dr. Shanoff, who you are always willing to meet with folks in the community. This afternoon, I asked you to hang out with me and a couple of our community leaders from the Green Actioneers and Love Makes Me Grow, just to kind of talk about how we can all continue to just support each other. And I feel that one of the things that I appreciate, not just about you, but actually about this entire board, is that we are thinking about how we can support the entire community. And so I really just want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us and hang out. So with that, I want to go ahead and welcome our next presentation. So we have the chorus from Poinciana High School, and they have a performance for us. So very exciting.
Take me to the wall.
down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, gonna lay down my soul and shield, down by the riverside. Oh, take me, take me, take me to the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water, children. Clouds are gonna trouble the water.
Well done. Great job. Dr. Shanoff, I will turn it over to you for appointments and transfers.
Thank you. Madam Chair, board members, I have one administrative appointment for your approval tonight. Marie Espinal as our new Director of Finance. Marie Espinal has held the following positions: paralegal in the United States Army Reserves, subcontract administrator, and project coordinator for the Global Supply Chain Management for Lockheed Martin Corporation, and senior operations and maintenance manager for facilities fiscal services for Orange County Public Schools. She received her bachelor's degree in business administration from Columbia College of Missouri.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a move from Mr. Melendez, a second from Board Member Arguello. Board, all those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, so impressive.
Thank you. Yes, Army. Well, good afternoon, all. My name is Mari Espinal. I am truly honored to stand before you today as the new Finance Director for Osceola School District. It is a privilege and a pleasure to introduce myself to this esteemed community, and I am deeply grateful for the trust and confidence that has been placed in me. I come with a rich background in finance and a passionate commitment to public service. With over 20 years of experience in the financial sector, I have the opportunity to work in various capacities, honing my skills in budget management, fiscal responsibility, and strategic financial planning. In my role, I am here to serve the students of Osceola County, as well as our dedicated county employees and officials. Thank you for your warm welcome, and I look forward to serving this wonderful community to the best of my abilities. Let us embark on this journey together for the betterment of the students of Osceola County. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Shanoff, we know we don't have to take a vote, but did we want to recognize Ms. Webb?
Yes, so Ashley Webb, who's currently an assistant principal at Discovery Intermediate School, will be assistant principal at Osceola Virtual School.
Thank you, board. Now is the time that we submit for modifications. We'll go ahead and start with Dr. Shanoff.
Yes, so 5.03, 13.01, 16.01 to be removed.
Thank you. Board Member Melendez.
12.01 and 14.04.
Thank you. Board Member Arguello.
You ready?
Yes.
I have none.
Okay. Board Member Cahoon.
I have none.
All right, so just to repeat that, we do have the removal of 5.03, 13.01, and 16.01. The removal, or do you want to remove these, or are we talking about 12.01?
The regular agenda
Okay,
items.
12.01, 14.04, and that is all we have. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so all those in
Motion
favor?
approved.
Aye. Right. Well, we have a motion by Mr. Melendez, a second by Board Member Cahoon. Board, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you. We'll go ahead and start with item 5, regular agenda. So we need an approval of 11. Yes. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve 11.03. Board, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And 12.01, Mr. Melendez?
Okay, do we vote on 11.03 to do all of them?
We did 11.03.
Oh, for some reason I heard 11.01, I'm sorry.
No, I just said 11, but I understand. Yeah, we did 11.03. Thank you.
Yes. Now, one of the issues that I have with 1201 is specifically with the position itself, you know, and not the person that's in it. The person that's in it is phenomenal. As a matter of fact, we even spoke about this about a year ago, about looking at it. And the reality is, that position is really responsible for 3 different levels of work. That is being like the chief negotiator or dealing with labor relations. You got school board rules and procedures, and you also have government relations. You know, my proposal was gonna be in the long run, but, you know, was to split that off and actually have somebody focus on just government relations themselves. Because Mr. Boyd is phenomenal, but one day he may retire. And this is not when there's not a forced retirement. Like one day, you know, the point is, as a school board, we gotta make decisions for the long-term betterment of the district. And for one person to be responsible for all 3 areas is a lot. And so, and I understand, you know, for him, he deserves this, but for the long-term structure of the organization, I believe that it should be split. And then I had spoken to the superintendent about this before, about just looking at the entire org chart of the school district and what is the role of an executive director, a director. Like when you think of position, just itself, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when a director, does that mean that they have any level of responsibility for other employees? Do they have a department? And so I didn't want to keep piecemealing the organizational chart without having a strategic overview of what each thing means. Because right now, we have an admin pay scale too that doesn't quite make sense either. And so I just wanted to try to develop clarity. So now, is Mr. Boyd deserving of this? Absolutely, he's phenomenal. But the problem is, let's say he retires in 10 years, you know, because he's young, you know, he's still got a long time to go, because we don't want him to go, he's the best. You know, I just want to make that clear. But when you come to replace that, what gets replaced? And as a school board, when we create an organizational chart, it should be based on the needs and the fulfillment of that. So that's where I have a real issue, where I believe that government relations needs to be a separate, you know, function from them. Because it's not just the government relations of monitoring what's happening in Tallahassee, but it's also developing relationships locally. We have, for instance, we have concurrency coming up. We're trying to create an interlocal agreement with them. We have the sales tax distribution. We had, you know, co-locating facilities. There's a lot of things that we need to work with the local government. And so I just think that realistically, the job description is fitting in too many things into what one person can realistically handle and not burn out. Now, Mr. Boyd's done it, and I agree that he's done a great job, but I just think that it's not sustainable in the long run, and I want to have a strategic plan on what we're doing as far as the job descriptions, the functions, and the pay scale.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Arguello?
So, I'm not a fan of any of that. We have 5 school board members who are already getting paid $50,000 a year practically, and they are the chief government affairs people for the district. There's no reason to pay more. We're already getting paid by the taxpayers to inflate the administration of this district anymore, which it already seems like we've taken a move in that direction where we're inflating the district is not a good idea to me. So to split those up, we already have a lobbying firm, right? Previously, we had 3 lobbyists working at the same time, and we have an attorney who in her contract has a portion of the tasks which are kind of like meshed with this particular role. I agree that Mr. Boyd is deserving of this change, and I'm happily going to vote for it. But I don't think that expanding the role would be better. If you are going to expand and add more weight to the administrative levels of the district, then it needs to be part of the strategic plan under talent management, where you are, by design, by intention, and with a strategic vision, increasing the administration or changing it in whatever way. It should not be, oh, I have an idea, this is what we want to do with this job, and then you create that, but that job doesn't necessarily work cohesively with these 3 other jobs going on at the same time, which you're also expanding. So what we need to do is get back to the drawing board at some point on our strategic plan, where we can decide this is what this district is going to look like in the future. So kudos to Mr. Boyd. He is a part-time lobbyist, he's a part-time negotiator, he's a part-time attorney, he's a part-time answer questions randomly to people, he's a part-time researcher on what the law is, he's an overall full-time great guy. I'm happy to vote for this. I just think that we need to, in terms of changing the strategic goal, this is one thing, it's his leadership, he's basically getting paid what he deserves for what he's doing currently. I think that's appropriate. To expand the role needs to be part of our strategic talent management position.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Melendez.
Thank you. And Mr. Aguero, you made up a good point. I would like to see if the board then can have that discussion. Like, talking about, what is the role of an executive director, a director. Like I said, the best example I have is like in the military. We have officers and we have sergeants, and there's different rank structures in each one of them. And in order to be an officer, you have to have a degree, have responsibility, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not even about a specific department, it's the use of that. And so I'm even confused on what is an executive director. The title itself, like, what does that mean? And I want it to be clear to all the employees of the organization, what does it mean? Does it mean that it's responsible for nobody, or is it like a specialized position? So it's like, I want there to be clarity. So I'm for supporting this, because I know Mr. Boyd is great, but I don't want to keep kicking the can down the road. I want to have an honest discussion. Maybe it's like a workshop or something where we can sit there and say, okay, what does it mean? And what is level of responsibilities? What does it mean to earn that title? And how is a distinction? What is the distinction between a coordinator, a director, an executive director, an assistant superintendent? We just keep creating all these titles and they keep getting jumbled up. I just want clarity so everyone knows what the expectations are and how do they get there to achieve them.
Thank you. Mr. Arguello?
Yeah, I concur with the issue that this should be workshopped and that we should. I think that at some point we need to get to what the organizational chart of the district should look like. In my opinion, it is smaller than it looks like today. But I do think that needs to be a discussion, needs to be a strategic decision as to what this is going to look like going into the future. But, and so the part that I'm disagreeing with is just adding more chairs until they get smaller and smaller all the way back to the wall here, as opposed to a strategic goal and vision as to what each person is going to be contributing to the team and to the furtherance of education in Osceola County. And I mean, to me, that's a good reason to workshop, although I would see the time and space and ability to Dr. Shanoff to propose what that would look like already. I mean, at some point, we gotta get to the strategic planning phase, right? Since we're near there anyways.
So, thank you both, Member Melendez, Member Arguello, for your comments. I concur with all of what you described in terms of Mr. Boyd. I think that you can't find anybody on this dais or within this district that doesn't feel that strongly about it. I do believe that this is a discussion for strategic planning. I don't believe that this is a workshop discussion. I don't think we could get to where we need to go in a workshop setting, because what we're talking about is deep and will take our district on a certain trajectory for the foreseeable future. I do believe that this becomes part of the strategic plan and strategic planning for us. Certainly, staff is in position to go ahead and present some potential recommendations. These are things that I have been reviewing, watching, evaluating since I've come on board. So this is a daily exercise for me to really see how pieces fit within the organization. And certainly, so then we maximize the outcomes for our students. That is it. That is, I think that we've captured two things that we know are our most important responsibilities. Ensuring the safety of our students, first and foremost, above student achievement, as you mentioned earlier, and then student achievement. And so that's where we are going to kind of steer this discussion, I hope, as a board and superintendent. I hope we're able to kind of move in that direction. I would just recommend that this become part of our strategic planning process that will take place as soon as the calendar year flips.
Thank you.
Board.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Melendez, second by Board Member Cahoon. Board, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. We have, item 13 was removed, so we'll move on to regular facilities, starting with 1401.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Melendez, second by Board Member Cahoon. Board, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 1402.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Melendez, second by Board Member Cahoon. Board, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And 1403.
Motion approved. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mr.
Motion to approve by Board Member Arguello, second by Board Member Melendez. Board, all those in favor?
Aye.
And thank you. And 1404, Mr. Melendez, you pulled this?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. The concern I have with this item is, and Mr. Sharma did a good job of describing why we need the extra piece of land. Because my first question was, we just bought 55-something acres, why are we buying more, when we first bought it? So to me, that was kind of counterintuitive, but, Mr. Sharma's sharp, he knows his stuff, and it just, the environmental issues of the property had to rearrange itself. But then came out another issue. I looked at it and I go, well, how much are we paying for it? What's the offer? And there is no offer. It's like, we're gonna pay whatever the appraised value is. And in real estate, I am an expert in real estate. One thing you do is you make an offer first. Then you do the appraisal subsequent. So if I'm able to go to Mr. Arguello and say, hey, I wanna buy your land for $500, then we have a contract agreement for $500. If the appraisal comes back and says the house is worth $10 million, well then guess what? The seller says to honor the contract offer price of $500. Now, it's never that extremely off, because nobody's gonna say yes to 500. I'm just giving you the example, so that's the issue that we have. Here, we're not establishing a price to negotiate with. We're just like, okay, whatever the land evaluates for. So we're gonna pay whatever it evaluates for. When instead, we should have a staff that kind of gets an idea of what land is worth. Make an offer, like a little bit of a lowball offer. See if we can get it. Now if the seller says no and we get a haggle, that's a different story. But the reality is, we should be making some type of offer to get an agreement with the seller, because it never hurts us. because the opposite can happen. The appraisal could come in less than what we offered. And then most real estate contracts say, if appraisal comes in below, we're gonna stick to the lower number, because that's what it is. You know, so if we're a little bit off on it, we're still gonna win. So we don't lose by ever making an offer first. We have to make an offer at the beginning.
That's gonna come before the board when that offer is made, is that correct? We're not just saying, here you go.
No, but an offer hasn't been made, no, we have an
But,
agreement here to do an
Mr.
appraisal.
Sharma, can you give us, and I apologize, Mr. Arguello, can you give us a synopsis of what the process would be in this particular case for the purchase?
So, can I ask one?
Of course.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So the current practice that we've been going through, except for one agreement, was when we enter into the agreements, the understanding is we go into due diligence as well as we go into the appraisal period. So we would obtain an appraisal, the seller will obtain an appraisal, we average them together if they're within 10%. If they're not within 10%, then we agree to go out to a third appraiser, and then we average to 2 at that point.
Thank you, Rhonda. I will recognize Mr. Arguello first and then Mr. Melendez.
Yeah, to me, really wasn't provided with the justification for this, but for me, it's hard to come in, we're gonna pick up another 6 acres. I read the contract, I had the same question as to why the contract is written the way it is. I don't know why I've never noticed that was the way that it has been, because normally we do see dollar amounts and this is what the exchange is gonna be, and all the portions are there. This is open-ended. If we got an appraisal that said this is $1 billion, and then our appraiser said it was $1 billion, boom, we're on the hook for $1 billion, and it's just not, I haven't seen an open-ended contract like this. Certainly I would have been contrary to that contract, or, you know, so I'm not comfortable with this, and I really haven't, I wish, and sorry to spring this on you, Mr. Sharma, because I should have talked about this earlier in the day, but,
Can we?
that was a no.
Thank you. Are we able to, Rhonda or Mr. Sharma, obtain the 2 appraisals in a reasonable amount of time and bring back the actual offer? Is that a possibility? And as I'm going down the line, it's Cahoon, Arguello, then Melendez.
So it would take us about 30 to 45 days to get the appraisals in. By the time we go out, we get the proposals from the appraisers, and then we choose an appraiser, then they need about 30 days to do the work. I'll have to kind of yield to Dave a little bit. I do know that to move the South Florida Water Management Permit forward, they're requiring to see that we've entered into this agreement to attempt to acquire, and without this approval of the agreement tonight, we can't submit our South Florida Water Management, and then that will delay the overall project of the high school.
So, and I do need to explain that. The part of the justification as to why we do need it, Mr. Arguello, is when we had to change the site plan because of the 100-year floodplain, we needed the space for our access roads to get off, to come in. Plus, we now need it for parking because we're sort of kind of scrunched up into a corner. Does this tie us into buying the land for whatever it is? It's just an
Because
agreement.
typically, we have the right to.
We have a right to refuse if the price is not satisfactory.
Right. Dave,
So, Frank, can you help me here?
confirm something legally. I've always understood that we have the ability to back out if we don't agree with what the
There were a couple of the
appraisals did.
original agreements from years ago that bound us to buy,
Right,
but
we
now they're
modified
written
that When I
to.
came on board and
Yeah.
said, wait a second, we're not agreeing to buy something just because the appraisal says it. Because Mr. Melendez was right. If they came in at 10 million, we'd go, this is absurd.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to go forward, I'm sorry.
Mr.
Arguello, I
Arguello
apologize,
first.
I apologize.
Ms. Board Member Cahoon, you're satisfied?
That was my question.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I I could be wrong. I skimmed through this contract. I could be wrong. I didn't get the impression that we could back out. I may have missed that. The other thing is, I'm not a fan of the last minute bombs, and this isn't necessarily like exactly last minute, but it's close enough where I would like to see the justification before I see the contract on if we're gonna spend money. So it's not like it's gonna be $1 gajillion, it's 6 acres. But because this is development, and because just having been a member of the community of Osceola County for X amount of years, it doesn't smell good to me. So, and if we back out of the contract, what is the taxpayer of Osceola County gonna pay as a penalty for that, right? So, are they gonna pay none?
There's no penalty.
There's no penalty.
No, but I do think you raised the point. I'd like, if you do approve to go forward, that we make it very clear in the agreement that we have the ability to back out if we don't agree with what the final number is.
And my apologies if I wasn't clear in our board workshops before. I thought it was always shown on our site plans, and I think I'd always explained that we were going to try to acquire that piece of property because that's where our driveways need to go, because we can't put an entrance directly onto Nova Road. So maybe I wasn't clear, Mr. Aguirre, that's my fault.
I may have misunderstood too.
No, that's fine. I should have explained that this agreement was coming in the future and that we're working with the developer to get that. So American Homes for Rent, who is developing that area, there's a piece of wetland in between and they cannot use that area. So they were always planning to deed it over to the homeowners association. They have agreed for us to acquire it now that it benefits the greater good of the community and that we can use it for our parking, and that's how we ended up them agreeing to move forward with us.
Well, certainly that's not an act of charity on their part, right?
No,
Yeah.
not by any means.
Okay.
I don't think we're bound.
No, we're not. So the method of payment, in the event that the buyer elects to purchase the access property with authorized credits in accordance with section above the 4.1 above, the following terms and conditions shall
So
apply.
we have the right to elect
We
to buy.
do have a right to elect to buy in the future. I think this just allows us to move forward with getting that price and bringing it back to the board in order for you to agree. And if you don't, then we can't move
I want
forward.
to confirm this. Our agreement provides us 180 days from the date this is signed off on to inspect the property.
Correct.
You will have the appraisals done within the 180-day period.
We'll do those before that.
Right. And so the 180-day period, if you don't like the appraisals, you have the backup of during the inspection period, killing the agreement for any reason you want to kill it.
Mr. Melendez?
All right, well, two things. One thing specifically in this contract is, since it's right next to the development that may have a bunch of houses on there, if we're gonna buy something from them, I wouldn't mind adding a clause that we're not responsible for creating a buffer, because it's a high school. There's gonna be loud games, there's gonna be a lot of cheering. Next thing you know, if the next door neighbors are gonna be like, wait a second, that noise is too loud, you gotta build up a fence or something like that, that we're not on the hook for something like that. That if they wanna do it, they do it themselves, because that development isn't there yet, but once the high school goes up, I can see.
It is actually coming out of the ground already, Mr. Melendez. And our current agreement for the property that we own, which is majority of that border, doesn't have anything to that extent, and this certainly doesn't have that language anywhere in it requiring us to do.
No, I'm just saying, yeah.
If the board decides, like Mr. Melendez, to close on the property, in the closing statement, the agreement.
Oh, absolutely, we can exclude
We
that.
would never agree to that, right?
There are no obligations beyond our just buying the property.
Absolutely.
Right, we're not gonna
We-
prepare
we
it. If
can-
they wanna build a buffer because they think it's loud enough, their own HOA or their own, whatever deed, they build it themselves, that we shouldn't have to build it for them.
Absolutely, I mean, stuff like that we would run through legal, so we'll make sure that Frank puts that language
Right.
in.
And then my other item, again, it's not so much for this one, because this one's kind of already in motion, but just as a rule of thumb for the board, moving forward, we have to make an offer. We have to make an offer. That's what we have staff for. We analyze it, you make an offer, and then you do the appraisals. You just don't do like what Mr. Arbor was saying. These are basically blind, offers to say whatever the appraisal is.
No.
We can establish a price and make an offer, put the purchase price, put up what we think, and get them to agree to it.
Sorry, Mr. Melendez, let me interrupt there. I did forward that email to Frank to ask his advice, just to make sure that I was correct in being able to do that. If we have the ability to do that, and Frank, you were telling me about you were working on some guidance for the board on how this process should work.
Come back to the board, we've been doing the impact fee thing. Well, we've uncovered an issue about what we're paying for the value of acreage and what we're giving in impact fees. And we're giving far more value in impact fees than what, or far more than what the value of the land is. So we're gonna lay it all out for you, and you're gonna have to make some policy decisions, and that's gonna, I think, Mr. Melendez, clean this up.
So I will work with Frank, Mr. Melendez. I did share an email with Dr. Shanoff. He was on the email string with us. If that is something that we can do, we'll absolutely do that. And my commitment to you is, as these real estate deals are coming forward, I'm meeting with you guys every 2 weeks with Dr. Shanoff. Absolutely happy to bring those so you're not blindsided by an agreement coming in at the last moment.
That is one of the things that the concept of concurrency helps you with.
Absolutely.
Because you can look at a developer and say, we don't have capacity, and so you need to help us get capacity. I used to say, give us the land, or we'll buy it for what you paid for it, but we're not going to upsell.
Any further questions, board?
Motion to approve 14.04.
Subject to the
Second.
comments that we had.
Yes, subject to the comments. Motion by Board Member Cahoon, second by myself. Board, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign? Thank you. Okay, so we are moving on to public comments. I only have one comment, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, what is, well, I will,
Dr. Shanoff's magic.
I will call up Albert Mendoza.
I came right in time, didn't I? Yeah, I'm happy. I saw the last week's meeting, and I'm happy that you, Ms. Castillo, you didn't not point out any members. That made me a little bit happy, because the previous 2 meetings you pointed out to not call out any members. I want to remind y'all all up here, y'all work for us. We don't work for y'all. Y'all work for us. And there's this pompous attitude around here of this stuffiness that we should be listening to y'all. No, that's not the way this goes. I got 2 kids here. My 2 kids are in the school district. You listen to us. We don't listen to y'all. So I'm glad that last week you didn't say none. I'm glad right now you didn't tell me to say that I can't point anybody out. But just want to remind y'all in those positions. Y'all in those positions because of us. So just be aware of it. You sit on those chairs because of us, the people that sit here, the people that have children in this school district. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we will move on to item number 1602, since we removed 1601. Mr. Koppenbacher?
Madam Chair, members of the board, we reviewed this in executive session. This is the settlement, and it is recommended.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Board Member Melendez, second by Board Member Cahoon, with a comment by Board Member Arguello.
Yeah, I may be remembering this incorrectly, but is this 50% more than it was that we discussed then?
No, it's the same.
Okay.
No switch.
I didn't know if it had gotten worse or what.
Motion and a second. Board, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, and
2 other
Adjourn.
what? 2 other items? I don't see that on mine.
There's one very important and then one I think is important. One is very important. We have a new teacher who came to work for us who unfortunately has serious cancer. A number of employees want to donate to our compassionate care program for her to take leave. Unfortunately, our policy currently does not allow a new teacher to do that. Dr. Shanoff and HR are evaluating should there be changes going forward, et cetera. we'd ask the board to authorize a waiver to that, to take care of this teacher. It's only as it relates to this. You have the authority to do that. I'll tell you, you can have other people raise, but we would do the same due diligence, and we want our teachers to know we're committed to them. And we will, if she's out for the period of time where she can't be evaluated, when she comes back, she'll roll over to her next year evaluation. She won't gain any advantage on the district, which she's not trying to.
Thank you, Mr. Arguello.
Yeah, when we began this policy, that was very early after 2020, very into that cycle or that time frame. This barrier to her receiving this change was not part of the intention of the policy to begin with. So I don't think that this is contrary to what we wanted to begin with. So I'm definitely in favor and a motion to approve that.
No, are we going to modify school board rules for the future to clarify that?
That's what's being analyzed now. All I tell you is right now, we want the waiver for this. And then when Dr. Shanoff and his team finishes evaluating what, if any, because what you want to avoid is the person who tries to play the game and manipulate it. But this is not anybody like that.
Will that analysis be done by the next board meeting, or do you need more time? Because I know next board meeting, we have the rules approval. Yeah.
We absolutely can come forward with a recommendation for a red line. Basically, we can have a red line ready for the next board meeting for you to consider as a change to the school board rule.
Mr. Arguello?
Yeah, but in terms for this particular person, we do need to do this tonight because they're supposed to be going on leave in the meantime.
Yeah,
It needs to be now.
No, I don't think I need.
Motion to
I think we're
approve the
all-
waiver then.
Second.
Mr. Arguello already made a
Oh, I'm
motion.
sorry.
Oh, so motion by Mr. Arguello, second by Board Member Melendez. Board, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. What else?
Final item, members of the board, I've always had a commitment to my clients that involves giving back. I came up with a plan that I'm going to donate $2,500 to. I have other people matching it, where each board member this year will be in a position to offer a graduate $1,000 scholarship. What I'd like you to each do is come up with what you think the requirements should be, so that nobody can challenge the integrity of the board. All right, and then I'll come back to you with, this is the proposed guidelines. Are you all comfortable with them? And if you are, we're off to the races.
For scholarship?
Yes.
Okay.
No other comments or questions?
Any questions? Meeting adjourned.
Woo!